homeless, the environment, the economy. We need to fix us first.
I don't think my feeling towards the moon is different than anybody else's. It's just, I don't know how to word it.
When I see a great big old supermoon or something like that, I joke to myself and say, "Jesus, be an easy night to go."
Share your own moon memories using the hashtag #MoonMemories.
We're local and educational. You're watching WLAE-TV, celebrating 40 years of New Orleans public television.
Inside New Orleans Sports with Eric Asher is underwritten by...
At Villeries Florist, we deliver the magic of flowers 7 days a week to the North Shore and South Shore in the New Orleans area. Whether it's for birthday parties, baby celebrations, Villeries provides colorful floral displays for all. With a store full of fresh-cut flowers, exotic tropical flowers, orchids, roses, and even fruit baskets, our goal is to make your vision a reality. Villeries Florist, proudly serving Louisiana since 1969.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business, 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
C&C Drugs is a family-owned pharmacy that's been serving Southeast Louisiana for over 50 years. Whether you need help taking care of an elderly family member, a growing child, or even a pet, C&C provides patient-centered care for your entire family. C&C Drugs, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Locations in Mandeville and Araby.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. We will cover all the home teams today. Saints, LSU, Tulane, Pelicans, all on tap. To break it down for us, Sports Director over WLAE-TV, Channel 4, Doug Mouton joins us on the program. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you as always. And you guys are doing some great stuff over at Channel 4. I almost feel like I'm back in my childhood again with all the games that the Saints games that are now on Channel 4.
Yeah, there are. There are 8 games on Channel 4. It's the most games on most games on CBS since 1994. And look, a little inside TV. I don't know if anybody cares, but I'm going to explain it anyway. All right, back in the day, CBS had the NFC package, and for a while, NBC had the AFC package, right? So then Fox comes on the scene as a new network in the mid-90s, and they want to make a splash, so they buy the NFC package. Back then, the games were completely split. And when there was interconference games, the away team, that network would get it. So if the Saints played an AFC team in New Orleans, it would be to the AFC network. And if they were, anyway. So when Fox bought the NFC, then CBS bought the AFC, and NBC was out of the mix. They came back in later with Sunday Night Football. So back then, and for the next 20 years, it was split. And they played by those rules. Only in the last 5 years or so would they have, I don't know what the networks pay, but I think they pay for sort of an even audience. So now, when the games are decided, if there's 8 NFC games by the old rules and 3 AFC, they'll move 2 and balance them. So they do a balance for the audience share across the country. I assume that's part of the new contracts. So in that balancing, in theory, most Saints games should be on Fox, but when there's an overabundance, they switch, and they switch to balance the market. And somehow they wound up switching the Saints all year. Needless to say, the people at Channel 4 were very excited to get 8 Saints games. So we wound up with 8 games, which is stunning. We're supposed to get 2. The 2 AFC teams in New Orleans. Now, sometimes if that's on Monday Night Football, we've had years where we had 1. And some years, they'll balance 1 or 2. Now, we have 8 for now, but the flexing has already started. Now, the Saints-Patriots game flexed, but it only flexed the time period. They didn't flex the networks. And it's now we could add more, but it's possible when they flex to do the network balancing.
Right.
And when the Saints flex, somebody said they flex the Saints from 3 to noon because the Saints are bad. That is 100% not true. They flex the Saints because the Bengals are terrible. And the Bengals are in that 325 slot, which I don't know if people know this. That is the highest rated NFL spot. Gets better ratings than Sunday Night Football, way better ratings than Monday Night Football. The 325 kickoff, whether it's CBS or Fox. Anyway, the Bengals are so bad, I think it was CBS said, we do not want that one anymore. So they moved the Bengals, and then in the flopping, the Saints had to move too. Was that too much?
No. That actually, it was great. It was a great explanation for what's going on because it is true. I mean, most people are going, wait a minute, Saints are on Fox.
It's my business, so I find it fascinating, and I tend to know about it because it is what I do for a living.
And I'm sure the sales core of WWL are really happy about having 8 Saints games.
I saw that schedule come out, and I saw, weeks. It's 4 games in a row. It's week 1, then week 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I'm scrolling down going, oh my God! And then there's 3 more later in the year. So 8 games on Channel 4.
And a little more work, probably a pregame or again.
We don't care. I mean, inside baseball, it's incredibly good for Channel 4 for this 1 year. Now, next year, if we go back to 2, they're going to be like, oh my God, our numbers look terrible year to year. Anyway, right now it's great.
And again, no matter what, people are going to tune in for the Saints game. They may not.
No matter what.
No
matter what.
But they will.
No matter what, even when they're losing, Saints numbers. If you just in the New Orleans market, if you took every TV show broadcast everywhere in the course of a year, 1 through 17, the highest rated things are the 17 Saints games, and it's not even close. So, and if LSU plays Alabama, that might almost pretend to get close to the lowest rated Saints game, but it's not. The lowest rated Saints game is bigger than any other program in the year in New Orleans.
And we do, and it's the same thing, honestly, for sports across the board. Because even if you look on the cable networks, what's going on again with basketball, NBA, we're always again one of the top markets in terms of watching NBA ball. So again,
New Orleans does. We watch a disproportionate number of sports. And one last TV thing, I don't know if you know this, but if you look at the Nielsen ratings from last year, the 100 highest rated programs of last year, I think 90 or 91 of the top 100 are all NFL games.
I did not know that.
It's every 325 game, every Sunday night game's in the top 100. And the other 10 are like 3 college football games in the whole year make the top 100. And the Academy Awards and the Emmys. Every single show that's in the top 100 now is live. There's no such thing as the days of the MASH, being the number 1 show. Every single thing in the top 100 is live.
That's crazy.
And it's almost all NFL.
And you guys are very, very busy at WWL. Tell us all about all the great shows.
Yeah, well, look, we've added the streaming show on WWL Plus that Ross Jackson and I do. We do it once a week. When the games are on CBS, we do them live on Channel 4. So Tuesday night, we did one live on Channel 4. It's so much fun. Ross is literally a joy to work with. 4th Down on 4 every Sunday night, which is sort of our signature show and has been for 40 years now on Channel 4. 4th Down Friday, which Ricardo and Seth, I am not involved in that one. Ricardo and Seth do a spectacular job. I call it the fastest 20 minutes in New Orleans sports, from 10:15 to 10:35. We're in the news most nights. I do my touchscreen commentary on Monday, and this is a little bit more inside TV baseball. We sold it, but with a sponsorship, they sold it twice. And so they came back to me and said, Doug, we sold it twice. What can we do? I said, well, there's only one me. So now I do a Monday night post show, and I do a Thursday night pre-show. So on Thursday nights at 10, and we had to give it a different name. We call it 4 Factors. 4 because we're Channel 4. So it's 4 takeaways and 4. So I do those, and honestly, I'm building PowerPoint presentations for the touchscreen. They're like 50-page PowerPoints. I am like the PowerPoint master right now. and regular newscast stuff. So football seasons are, crazy and fun as
and
can
it's
be.
about to get crazier with, again, the Pelicans coming back on.
With the Pelicans coming back. And honestly, football season for us is 3 months. It's September, October, November, because that's when everything's going. By December, colleges are now waiting for their bowls, and that slows down. The prep is down to the Final Four, and then the state championship. So then it's just Saints, and that becomes easier. Right now, we're in the heart of it, where there could be 10 of us and it wouldn't be enough, and we got 4 of us.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's start with, again, looks like, again, the state and the Saints have come together on a new lease. From what we know, again, it's going to be a new 10-year lease with 4 5-year extensions. The lease will go through 2025. There's a relocation fee. Originally, it was reported as $250 million. We don't know if that's going to be the number or not. Then they did miss that September 17th deadline to bid for the 2031 Super Bowl. But again, there's been talk coming out of Saints camp that Mrs. Benson will go to the commissioner and ask for a reprieve there and get a chance to be able to get into the bidding for that. The NFL would like to come back to New Orleans before 2038 because that's the next time they could come because of, again, conflicts with Mardi Gras and conventions, etc. Again, there was an impasse over the Benson Tower lease. I'm not sure, again, how that has turned out. We'll find, again, by the end of business today. But this is a really great thing for the city and the state and, of course, the Saints as well.
It's a no doubt. And look, you do have to put things like relocation fees in there because Miss Benson is not young. I'm trying to say that as nice as I can.
Sure.
And look, you got to figure out what you're doing for a succession plan and make sure that the team stays here. I am 100% confident that whatever is in her will guarantee New Orleans keeps the team. This has been her absolute passion to make sure we're good in New Orleans. So I have no doubt we won't. I think we all knew this was coming. It's just getting the stuff done. You wish you could have got it done so that we don't have to do this. Hey, can we get back in this bidding? But look, I've heard really good things about New Orleans' chances to get another Super Bowl. Let's see if we can get back in that hopper and get one back. The Super Bowl this year, and I've told this to Jay Cicero with the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, who does a spectacular job. And he has to give all the credit to other people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, just say, oh, no, our partners, when he's really doing 90% of the work. That's me saying that, not Jay. He would never say that.
And I'm in agreement.
They do such a great job, and I did such a great job this year. I know the NFL wants to come back. Man, that would be great. That was one of the great events I've ever done.
Well, I'm going to say right now, again, when you look at it, again, especially after what happened, the lights going out in the previous Super Bowl, maybe left a bad taste in some people's mouths. We knocked it out the park this year.
We knocked it out the park.
Okay.
It was literally a 10 out of 10, and I'm talking about from Sunday to Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 10 out of 10, and I've been to. Now with this job, I've been to multiple Super Bowls. I haven't been to a lot of games, but like a lot of times now with Super Bowls, we'll go during Super Bowl week, cover some things, and then come back. But getting the actual game tickets is hard, and I understand that. So, but they give away media passes for game week like mad. So it's easy to go. Anyway, so I've seen what other cities have done, and New Orleans hit it out the park. 10 out of 10.
Well, a lot of times they're trying to duplicate what we do. Okay.
Oh, no question.
And they can't.
They're not duplicate, copy.
Right.
Yeah, duplicate's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally copy.
No.
Yes.
I mean, look, I can remember a few years ago. I mean, it was a while back. Houston actually put up like a mini French Quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So
you're not allowed to do that in Houston.
I mean, come on.
Invent your own.
I mean, that's what it is. And then some other good news. Again, we've got the 28 college football championship game. Be played on January the 24th, 2028. The championship game's coming back to New Orleans. This is huge. Because again, one of the things that was it Huntley from the Super Bowl committee has talked about. You've had him on your program. I saw you talking about.
Actually, I had a long interview with him this morning.
Well, again, we're punching above our weight class right now, and we've got to be able to figure out again how we're going to continue to be in the mix for these championship games. With again the price skyrocketing on being able to host these games.
The college football playoff is such a mess right now. Okay, we were talking about the Super Bowl, right? You're talking about 2038. You just said. Wait, college football playoff doesn't know what they're doing yet next year. Next year, now they have a championship game. That's already, they're going to Las Vegas next year, but they do not know what the playoff will look like next year. Right now, what's happening in college football is the commissioners of the 4 big conferences are negotiating and talking in theory. The deadline is December 1. By December 1, if they don't have a change for the college football playoff, the exact system will roll over to next year. If by December 1. Now, really, the two things on the table right now are either stay at 12 or go to 16. I personally like 12.
Right. And I personally like 16.
Okay. Well, but either way, those are the two things on the table. If they don't decide as a group to pitch to go to 16, and these are the four commissioners of the four big conferences. That's the ACC and the Big 12 and then the Big 10 and the SEC. Yeah, it's 2 and 2, like that. And that decision has to be by December 1st. If they don't do anything, and the guess right now is they're not going to do anything. We're going to roll this over. The Sugar Bowl obviously wants to be part of everything going forward. We're punching way above our weight. So when you talk to Jeff Hundley, he talks about getting all of the New Orleans corporate input that they can get, because they need all they can get.
And state help as well.
And the state help and the city help. They need all the help they can get to continue to punch above their weight. They obviously want to be part of whatever system continues coming. The fact that the NCAA, now, and Jeff Hundley can explain this better than me, the Sugar Bowl had to put up their own savings as part of the bid. They were the first bowl game to do that ever, to put up part of their own savings as part of the bid to get the national championship game. They thought it was important enough and wanted to do it, so they did it. And again, what I said about Jay Cicero and his group, Jeff Hundley and the group at the Sugar Bowl are great for the city of New Orleans. They do a spectacular job. They put on a great event. It's why the national championship's coming. So we'll have a semifinal this year, and then that year we'll have a semi and a championship. The Sugar Bowl will still be not a semi, a quarterfinal. A quarterfinal this year. They'll have a quarterfinal then, and then a championship game.
And again, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but again, a lot of the reasons why, again, the Sugar Bowl had to put up their own money is hotel motel tax. That has been split now, again, where the city's getting money for again their needs, and then at the end it's supposed to be again for streets, sidewalks, etc., infrastructure. But again, that's taken away money from again that we used to go to these games, again, Sugar Bowl, Super Bowl, national championship, etc. And of course, the bidding on these things are getting so high now, with all these new stadiums coming on, cities with all this corporate support, and we got to find a way to still be in the mix. We know that again, college football, the NCAA, they want the Sugar Bowl involved. They want
to. If it's even, we win. Right. And we might even have to be even. We might be able to win from here, but we got to be in the game. And right now, the cities that are bidding, Las Vegas wants in, and I don't mean on championships. They want in. Right now, there are 6 bowls that do the quarters and the semis, and they rotate in there. And Nashville wants in.
You better believe it.
Houston wants in, and Las Vegas wants in. I think those are the 3 that have the most money, the most corporate backing. Las Vegas sort of has an endless tax money supply. But those are the 3 cities right now that have already expressed great interest in jumping in on the semi-quarterfinal rotation. So we'll see how that plays.
You know, Doug, at one time, again, it's Atlanta kind of chipping in on us, right? Again, being a southern state.
And Atlanta is one of those 6.
Southern city again, and of course in there. But now it's Nashville. Now it's Nashville with their brand new stadium, with again them copying again, putting almost a French Quarter again adjacent to there. I mean, but it's pretty amazing. Again, but they looked at what we did, and they've kind of copied what we've done. So again, it's going to take a lot of corporate support, which we don't have in this city right now. But it's also going to take some tax dollars to continue to have us involved in this. And look, it's needed and necessary because again, our economy is tourist-based.
It's who we are.
That's what we got to do.
It's who we are.
No doubt. Okay, we'll take our break here. We'll hear from our underwriters. We come back. We'll jump into Saints, LSU, Tulane, and Pelicans. Doug Mouton, sports director over at WLAE-TV Sports, is our guest. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Stay tuned.
Located at 3701 Iberville Street in Mid-City is Katie's Restaurant and Bar. Open 7 days a week, Katie's offers daily specials for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Serving New Orleans cuisine such as fried shrimp platters, grilled redfish, and a fully stocked bar. And don't forget about our expanded event seating and local entertainment. Featured on the Best of Food Network's diners, drive-ins, and dives, Katie's Restaurant and Bar.
Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration has been family-owned and operated since 1989. Burkhart has energy-efficient solutions and offers brands such as Mitsubishi ductless AC units and Amana, the only manufacturer with a lifetime unit replacement warranty. Burkhart's offers maintenance bundle packages that include servicing your AC, generator, and tankless water heater. For more information on the services Burkhart's provides, visit acpromise.com. Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration, providing comfort for life.
Welcome back to Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Doug Mouton is our guest. Let's talk Saints. Saints again, 0-4. They lost the Bills 31-19. But based on what we saw in Seattle and then what we saw in Buffalo, trying to be positive here, well, again, we saw some strides with this team.
Yeah, and I don't even think you have to try to be positive.
Right.
I think it was super positive.
Right.
It depends on where you start, right? Like I have friends of mine who are season ticket holders who are completely disgusted right now, and this is pathetic and terrible and all. Because he started thinking, I don't know, applying a 2019 idea to it. If you start realistically and know this team's going to win 5 or 6 games, and how many games they win this year means nothing long term. Doesn't matter if they win 2 or if they win 7. Neither one of those tell us anything. What we need to know is, are they building? Are they getting better? Are they making progress? Are we seeing pieces that can be long-term pieces? And one of the things coming from Seattle to Buffalo that I thought was a huge positive was Kellen Moore's never been in this spot before as a head coach, where his team was terrible in Seattle. They looked unprepared, and they looked like they didn't care. They looked like all the things that are like huge red flags.
They look like when Dennis Allen was here.
They look like, they look like red flags on coaching. And Kellen Moore obviously knew that, but you wonder, he's never been in this situation. Can he fix that? Can he motivate this team? Look, he's a nice guy, and he's not pretending to be a nice guy. I think he really is a nice man, and he's soft-spoken, and he looks for the good in things. Can that guy light a fire under grown men who are richer than him? You know what I mean?
And play the most violent game in sports.
And play the most violent. And you know what? Whatever he did, because they came out and they played better and smarter and harder. They played well. Look, Spencer Rattler missed the one to Brandon Cooks in the end zone. Cooks almost saved what was a terrible pass. That would have been a spectacular catch. The fact that Brandon Cooks didn't get it is not on Brandon Cooks. The fact that he almost got it is a testament to this guy's pretty good, right? It was he hits that pass. You got a lead in the fourth quarter when you're winless at the Super Bowl champions. And again, finding positives in a 12-point loss, but the fact is that's who we are.
There's some other positives as well. First of all, the cutting down on the penalties was huge.
Huge, and that's another coaching thing. You know, and that's another Kellen Moore.
That's discipline, right?
Of course.
Because again, one of the things that was one of the things that again, look, I said last week, nobody wants to roll a coach under a bus after 4 games or 3 games. Okay?
No matter what.
You can't do that. And especially, again, a new coach.
And even if he goes 0-17, they're not going to fire him.
There's no way. Again, he's here.
He's here.
Right. So
let's help him get better.
Right. At the end of the day, you want to see this team incrementally get better. And if they're having issues like discipline, again, you want to see again how can that coaching staff reach that team and again make them realize again that again you're either going to play this way, or again we're going to find someone else.
And here's the other part of that too, in what you're building for the future. Cam Jordan had a great game in Buffalo, but man, I am hoping that Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Alvin Kamara are not the guys who I thought, these are the guys who had the great games, because they are obviously not going to be part of whatever Kellen Moore, whenever the Saints are hopefully ready to compete for another Super Bowl, they're probably not going to be part of it. So let's see some young pieces. I love Jonas Sanker. And I've said that probably 10 times on air. I think Jonas Sanker as a 3rd-round draft pick has a chance to be what Roman Harper was for Sean Payton as a 2nd-round draft pick. And I love the fact that they didn't have to trade up to get him. I can't wait to see Quincy Riley. And I bet
he's playing more and more snaps now.
I was about to say, by halfway through the season, or at some point, and it wouldn't be surprised to me if it happens in the next 2 weeks, but at some point in the next 6 weeks, he's going to just become an every down player. And they're going to see what they have, and I think they have something. And we all like Danny Stutzman, who I don't know how much playing time he's going to get now, but he's been solid. I like both young tackles, Fawaga and Banks. Neither one of them have been great yet. They've been okay. They have not been above okay, but I certainly love the potential in both those guys. And then the other guy on the offensive line, Torricelli Simpkins, who I really want to watch against the Giants. I think this guy has a chance to be a real diamond in the rough as an undrafted free agent. He's been so far better than he should be. And so let's see him in
And
a
at
whole
the very
game.
least, even if he's not a starter, he's a guy. Look, you always need a swing guy, right?
Yeah, no question.
That can play.
No
That
question.
can play
But I think maybe he can be a starting interior offensive lineman in the NFL that you got for nothing. Because the other part about building a Super Bowl team is that you need a significant number of, and I'm not saying your stars, but a significant number of your good players, you know, a starting everyday player, to not be expensive. And you're talking about every guy I just mentioned, those are draft picks. Even the first rounders by NFL standards are cheap. And so that's a nice base that if you can set up enough of that base, then you can go spend money in free agency because you're not spending it on your base.
And this draft, and it's early, right? But this draft looks like it could be one of those cornerstone drafts that you build a championship team around.
Yeah, and I would disagree with you because for us, it's not too early. It's not too. Look, I'm watching quarterbacks. I was watching the Penn State game, the Penn State-Oregon game, and we were in Buffalo, and we were sitting down in the Anchor Bar, which is the place that invented buffalo wings, right? So we're sitting down eating buffalo wings in the place that invented buffalo wings, and I told Adam, the sports photographer, who watches as much sports as anybody, I said, oh, God, good, I want to watch the Penn State quarterback. Because he's one of the quarterbacks that's going to be in the hopper that we don't know yet if the Saints, and I know you want to go there.
Yeah, we're going to go there.
We don't know yet if the Saints are going to need a quarterback, but if so, it's not too early. So yes, when you're watching college football games, like look at some mock drafts, look at the first 2 or 3 rounds, names, pull those guys out and watch them.
Right, and that's a great segue into where we want to go next, because again, there's been a lot of debate. I've done it on my radio show this week on how much longer do you stay with Spencer Rattler, and when does Tyler Shuck get an opportunity to get on the field so you see what he has, so you can see if again next year you're back in the quarterback business once again.
Yeah, look, I said this before the season, and I still believe this now. I called Tyler Shuck the single most important player on the roster because he's the one guy that by the end of this season you have to know, do we need a quarterback or do we not? That's the first question,
No doubt.
and the only way to answer that question is to get him playing. Here's the one thing though, what I think what this team has been able to build so far, it's super positive. I really do. 0-4, there's a lot of positives right now. But what this organization, what this coaching staff, what this team needs more than anything else is a win.
Yes.
They need a win. They need a little proof of, what is it, proof of concept.
Sure.
They need a win in the worst way. I would say if I'm making the call, which quarterback gives me the best chance to win Sunday, not in 8 weeks, not in 3 years, Sunday, I'm starting Rattler.
Yeah.
Now, Rattler hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. And one thing he did exceptionally well in Buffalo was his decisions running the ball.
Yes.
And then he even had that one juke on the linebacker. I think it was a 9-yard run on a 3rd and 7 in the third quarter. Like, that was his best run of the year. He made good decisions. Look, he hasn't been super accurate. He hasn't made all the right decisions in the passing game. But he has protected the ball, and he hasn't been bad. Hasn't been great. Hasn't been bad. The Saints are 0-4. It's not because of Spencer Rattler.
I would agree with
and
that.
If you think he is, I think you're wrong. I don't think it's because of him. Now, he hasn't also elevated them to get a win. I get that. But if I'm talking about this week, I'm starting Spencer Rattler without even thinking twice. I think he gives you the best chance to beat the Giants. And then if he does get a win, it's hard to bench a guy getting a win. I have no doubt Tyler Shuck will be the Saints starting quarterback at some point this season. And I think it's in Shuck's interest to wait. If you watched him all training camp, he's not ready. And I'm guessing every week in practice, which I don't see anymore, he's getting more and more ready every week. I don't know when his time comes. It's coming. I said before the season, Rattler gets a 4-week window and then we see. I think he earned week 5. And if he wins in week 5, now look, if he's terrible this week, it could come in week 6. If he's terrible and they lose, Shuck's time could come soon. If Rattler's okay or better and they win, it obviously. But I do think Shuck's going to start. I think you got to see him for. You think it's half a season?
I think yes. I think he needs at least a half a season to see.
I
what
think
he's
he
got.
needs at least 6 games. I'd say
You know?
we're not that far off.
we're not that far.
But you got to get him in a game, and it's not 1 and it's not 2. You got to get him in a game, get his feet wet, let him make all his mistakes, then see what happens.
And then you look at the schedule. Right now, you've got some winnable games in October.
3 of them,
right? That
in
you
a
can
row.
win, and maybe that's you let Rattler again gets an opportunity. But down the line, and when you get into December, You got some winnable games in December as well, and that might be Shuck's time to get him in there to see what he can do. Now, I want to go back to something you just said, because everyone I've spoken to has said that again it was razor thin between the two quarterbacks.
Yeah, I didn't think
you
it was
didn't think so.
No, I thought
expound on that.
I just thought Rattler was significantly better, and I thought the one hiccup for me personally was when Shuck came in the Charger game, the second preseason game, and. First preseason game, and looked really good coming off the bench in that 2-minute drill. Because here's the thing about Shuck. Shuck's got a shotgun arm, and I mean that legitimately. Yeah. If Shuck had trained differently, I have no doubt in my mind he'd be a major league pitcher. The ball explodes out of his hand. He's got NFL size. He looks like an NFL quarterback, and he's far more athletic. His athletic numbers from the combine are super good. Tyler Shuck has the entire package. I think the reason he didn't run more in college is because he had such an injury history. His coaches were afraid to run him. And because he's got a shotgun arm that you want to see that. Now, in training camp, he frequently looked overwhelmed, and he frequently looked not ready, which is not unexpected. The NFL's infinitely more complicated than college football, and he looked like he wasn't ready to me, and even in the preseason, he looked like he wasn't ready to me. I never thought it was razor thin. I mean, look, Shuck was here, Rattler was here, Shuck was here. What made it a little closer was that you can see that Shuck has the tools. Tools don't always get you there.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, one of the toolsiest quarterback in Saints history is Mike Buck, and you can see how much success he had. It's not my friend Ross has a phenomenal arm, but when in flag football you rush somebody at Ross and he throws it right to defensive backs, but Ross can throw it 70 yards down the field. So just having the tools, I love comparing Tyler Shuck to Ross Birkenstock, but Shuck has the physical tools, and you can see it, and that's why I think people are so anxious to jump on the board because he has the physical tools. But I thought all training camp, with the exception of what happened in the Charger game, he looked not ready. I'm not seeing him daily now. I mean, I saw every practice. But I'm guessing he's getting better and better. And you said it too. Your point, I think, is right on the money. They have 4 winnable games at the end of the season, which is why I gave them 6 wins. Because I think even if they're 2-8, I think they catch fire at the end. And that's why I think you even push his window to the last 6 or 7 or maybe 8 games, you might be right, so that he can finish strong. I think a lot of how this season goes, especially once we get past the bye, is going to be about finishing strong, and I think it's going to be about finishing strong with Shuck.
One thing we know, at least this is what we were told after camp, was again that he will be running the scout team, so he's getting a lot of reps.
And Kellen Moore said that last week that he is.
As opposed to, again, just being a backup quarterback that goes in and gets a couple reps and that's it. So he's running the scout team, so he's getting reps every day. Plus, again, much like LSU, the Saints have that VR technology that the quarterbacks use as well. That helps you get ready. But the reason why, again, Spencer Rattler has started is, and I've said this, and I'm sure you concur, he's got NFL experience. He has been in the game in the NFL. He knows the speed of the game. He's been around. Now, again, he's 0-10. But again, he's had...
Which another reason, he's better than that. Spencer Rattler is an NFL quarterback. He's proven that.
I think he's an NFL backup. Do you think
he's an NFL backup? No. He's an NFL backup. But he is an NFL quarterback.
I would agree with that.
He's a legitimate NFL quarterback who maybe... And this is just my opinion. And he's still growing. So he could still surpass this. To me... If he's a starter, he's one of the bottom 5 starters, bottom 8 starters in the NFL. But to me, he's at least a solid NFL backup that can do some things for you. And for a 5th round draft pick, that's a great draft pick.
No doubt. All right, I want to shift gears here to Chase Young. Man, we were told it was a slight calf strain. Last year, he had a contract in which, again, he got paid per game.
I know.
Okay, and for the first time in his career, this guy played
He played 17.
Okay, first time ever.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting here and we're going into game 5.
I know.
And he's been already out. He's already out for the game this week.
Yeah, and I'm the first one. I said the week before the season, or like 2 days before the injury came down, that he's my breakout player for the year. That he's going to get 12 sacks. that he's ready to be that guy. He was on my Heisman ballot in 2019. A defensive lineman. He finished.
Well, he was that good.
He was he had 17 sacks at Ohio, 16 sacks at Ohio State his junior year. I had him third on my Heisman ballot. He finished fourth. That was Joe Burrow's year. So it was Joe Burrow.
And exactly. Who else? I can remember being at the Heisman.
He was there. He was in the top four. Right. He's that good. Look, he's your most talented. He might be your single most talented player on your roster from a physical standpoint. And the fact that you haven't got without question the most frustrating thing about this season, because I think single-handedly he makes a difference in the first 2 games of the year. Single-handedly.
Absolutely does. What do you think's the issue here?
I think he's legitimately hurt.
No, I think it is, but is it Chase Young again nursing an injury?
I don't know. I have this theory about I think Zion is like this a lot of times. So, sometimes, and Zion's not so much this part, sometimes guys are wound so tight physically that when it goes too easily, if that makes sense. And that sometimes the guys who aren't wound as tight have a little more give. But I also think, this is goofy, I know, different, if you see Bruce Willis in Unbreakable, like he's a superhero that can't break. Like, I do think humans have different, I don't know, just something about injury potential or injury likelihood. How does Cam Jordan play that many games? He missed one game, right?
Look at Ricky Jackson in his career.
Just guys who have more of an unbreakable quality, and then guys who tend to get hurt. Yeah. And that just happens. I just think there's something about human physiology where some guys are more predestined to be hurt more than other guys. Some guys, it's bad luck. And that's what they say about Tyler Shuck. It's a bunch of broken bones. But maybe his bones break that much easier than somebody else. I don't know that.
Let's hope not.
And maybe that's what.
Let's hope not.
I know, but
got lucky with Taysom Hill. All his injuries were behind him.
And if you saw the way that knee bent, nobody walks away from that. Bruce Willis doesn't walk away from that. So I don't know. I don't know why it is. I do believe the injury's real. I don't think there's any faking an injury.
No, I don't think you can in the NFL now.
No, and look, I know he knows he hasn't put up the numbers that he should. I will also say this. The Saints traded for Devon Vele, who has played 1 year in the NFL. This is Chase Young's 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, this is 6th year. Chase Young is younger than Devon Vele. So Chase Young came out at 20. He's still only 26 years old. So, Cam Jordan's still doing it in his mid-30s. So Chase Young I have no doubt he's going to have a 15-sack year at some point. I would love him to have it here before he goes someplace else in 2 years.
Switch gears to LSU. Again, 4-1, 1-1 in the SEC. They're 13th in the AP and coaches poll this week. They lose to Ole Miss 24-19. Man, the big talker has been Garrett Nussmeier and the injury. And you and I were talking before we came on the air today, and one of the things that I've talked about on the radio show again over the last few weeks is going back to Southeastern is why do you play a guy that has a torso injury, and now we find an ab injury. It's an ab injury. When, again, you could beat Southeastern without Nussmeier and give him some rest going into that Ole Miss game, which is a critical game for you. Again, not just in terms of, again, the national polls, but, again, in terms of possible SEC championship. He's not practicing this week, and he's resting it. But, again, he's not the same player, first of all.
No,
why don't you take it from there, because he's not the same player, from what we've seen. What do you think the issue is here?
I'll say that I watch a lot of baseball, when my free time, the playoffs, Wednesday I was off, I watched a quadruple header and didn't miss a pitch of a quadruple header. I watch a lot of baseball. What has become one of the most common injuries in baseball is the abdominal strain. And in baseball, you can really understand it because as a pitcher, you are torquing the middle. And when you swing a bat, you're torquing the middle. In basketball, you never really torque the middle like that. And in football, you don't torque your middle like that unless you're a quarterback. Unless you're a quarterback that's trying to get everything into a ball. And in baseball, when the injury is real and it's an abdominal strain, that is not a 1 week injury. That's an injury that keeps guys out a month or 6 weeks. I mean, it is so depending on how serious that is. Even when they come back, those guys frequently aren't right. If it is a real abdominal strain, this is a semi-serious abdominal strain, I'm not sure he's going to be right the rest of the year. And if he keeps playing, it's certainly not going to get him right. Yes, it was very curious, or it's very curious now that he played the Southeastern game, but I'm not even sure sitting out 1 week is going to make a difference based on what I see in baseball when guys have that injury and they're out 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and it's a while. Here's the real thing, and the first question I asked you when we sat down before just your opinion, how hurt is Nussmeier? And you said, I don't know. And that's the truth. I don't know. None of us really know. We think we know, or we can guess by performance.
You can look at with the performance, right?
Yes.
Where's the velocity? His mechanics are off.
Yeah.
His inability to throw the deep ball. I mean, there was a pass to Xavion this week. He's sitting there waiting on the ball and it is floating to him. That is not Nussmeier.
No, Nussmeier's got a gun.
Right.
No, then look at the throw Nussmeier made in overtime against Ole Miss last year when he hits Kyron Lacey on a rope. No, yes, 100%. And the problem is you don't have a running game. So I don't want to.
And the offensive line's shaky.
Yeah. Cokie Riley from The Advocate, Seth Lewis went to the game at Ole Miss.
That was a great interview.
And Seth says, so LSU sort of got a one-dimensional offense, and Cokie said, I would call it a zero-dimensional offense. Yeah, so right now LSU's offense is zero-dimensional, and that defense can't carry you. Look, it wasn't the loss to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a good team. Ole Miss
better than I thought they were.
Better than I thought they were, too. They're a college football playoff team at home. They've got a big home field advantage. And LSU lost close. So all those things are good. It wasn't that, is what it looked like. Because, Ole Miss looked like they should have won that game by 17. LSU got outgained by 200 yards. LSU looked outclassed against Ole Miss.
I would agree.
And that's the part that raises the red flags. We're going to learn a lot against South Carolina. South Carolina, I don't think is as good as Ole Miss, but they're a good SEC team.
They got a quarterback.
They got a real quarterback.
Sellers gets hurt last year. If he don't get hurt last year, they may lose that game.
They might, right. So I think this one's a test. I think LSU's just got better talent than Vanderbilt. But I think this one's a real test. Because here's the thing. The goal for this team has been college football playoff. You can lose 2 in the SEC and get there. Nobody has lost 3 and gotten there. Not yet. Now, obviously it's possible, but you can't go in saying it's okay to lose 3. You can lose 2. This is 1. You still got A&M and Alabama, which at this point, I'm thinking if you could split those 2, that's great. That means you got to run the table. So South Carolina is an absolute must-win.
Got to wonder about.
You disagree with that or not?
No. I agree 100%. You got to wonder about, though, again, the thought process of building this team. Again, $20 million put into NIL. The defense is terrific. The defensive backfields, DBU is back.
Yeah, Halsey at safety is my single favorite player of the year so far. The play he kept LSU in the game.
No
the
doubt.
fumble he caused that LSU recovered in the end zone is the reason they were in the game.
And then defensive line. You look what is it? Peyton Gooden, Pyburn. These guys they've made an incredible difference.
Yeah.
But my gosh. You have to build an offensive line.
Yeah.
And again, you brought in Josh Thompson, you brought in Moore, you got a lot of guys that you've recruited that are young, that haven't really, again, gotten to the point where, again, they're ready for SEC play. And now you're in a situation with a quarterback who has a core injury.
And look, Ole Miss is playing their number 2 quarterback, and look how good that guy was.
That's right.
And that guy was a transfer from Ferris State.
Right.
Why wasn't LSU in the hunt for him?
Why are you not putting money into a backup quarterback? Okay, at the very least, you're going to need one.
Yep.
Okay, and then the other part of it is the running game. Look, when's the last? I posed this question on the radio show this week. When's the last time LSU had a true SEC back that, again, you could say, you know what? I know that guy's going to give me 100. I know I can lean on that guy every game. I said Fournette. My colleague Mike Vazan, who comes on my program, Sean's dad, says Darius Geis.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think about it. In the last 4 to 5 years, have they had that player?
And the next one is Harlan Berry. They've got the guy on the roster who will be the next one.
Is he he looks explosive.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got to get a little bigger.
He's got to get bigger.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a kid.
Do you put him out there now?
Well, they put him out there now a little bit.
Right.
I think he's been used probably appropriately at this point. I think that's a lot. The SEC is a lot to put on an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
I mean, it just physically, that's grown men.
No, it is, absolutely.
And he's I hate to call him a kid because that sounds demeaning, and I don't mean it that way.
Absolutely not.
He is 18 years old. Like, that's just a fact.
And he's got to build his body up.
And yes, I mean, when I was 18 years old, I weighed 125 pounds.
I wish I weighed 125
and I didn't weigh 125 pounds 2 years later, not by a long shot. Like, there is physical maturity that happens that you can't just throw him out there when he's not there yet. And I think he doesn't quite look like he's there yet physically to me. So I think he's being used appropriately. Now, I do think once he grows a little bit, he's going to be a superstar. So I think the next running, I agree 100%, you got to best in an offensive line. And when I see Ole Miss with a backup quarterback that absolutely skewers Tulane and then does an excellent job against LSU, I mean, I'm looking at how was LSU not in on that guy? Because I guarantee you that guy wasn't a huge NIL hit.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. If you're LSU, how can you allow a 3-man front of Ole Miss to defeat your offensive line with 5? And then that's maybe the most egregious thing coming out of that game.
It was terrible. Yeah, and honestly, Garrett Nussmeier's pocket awareness with a 3-man rush wasn't great, and he couldn't feel the one guy coming.
Right.
I mean, again, there are so many red flags coming out of that game. And look, I'm guilty because I went to the Florida game and I thought, okay, this team's in the hunt. Because I said that was the best game I have ever seen a set of defensive backs play. Now we're looking at it. Clemson doesn't look that good. Florida doesn't look that good. So you beat 2 teams that weren't very good. And then Ole Miss is a very good team. And you looked outmatched.
And again, look, let me just say this. Anybody's talking about Kelly on a hot seat, his seat may be hot, but again, it ain't $51 million.
It's expensive.
The buyout is very expensive. If something
it goes down so slow.
Right. Yeah, no, he slow played it.
Well, look, I mean, he had all the cards. But he's at Notre Dame. LSU wanted him. He can write that contract how he wants, and LSU was all in.
And he saw 2 national championship coaches get fired.
Yes.
So again, he wanted to make sure if I'm coming here, I'm going to.
Oh, no. Whoever his agent is, that's the agent everybody should want.
So I'm telling you right now, of the $20 million that was put into NIL, hopefully again those guys are willing to put up money again next year. But again, nobody's buying him out for $51 million.
And what happens with that NIL money? I know they came up with $20 million this year. Can you come up with $20 million?
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm already reading stuff again. There's buyer's remorse on some of these. And
a lot of there's going to be, and this isn't an LSU problem. This is across college football. Look at all the money that Texas Tech spent. Now they're actually. The money looks well spent at this point. Yeah, but can that continue, or is this the first time you can spend? You spend by the time you come into that guy the 4th time, it's like, I can't.
It might be able to think where we get to a bubble and the bubble's going to burst. So
and then guys will still get NIL money, but it's going to be 10,000 instead of $1 million.
It's not going to be like the quarter. It's not going to be like again the quarterback that LSU had. Michigan, which is ridiculous.
And I hate to say it, but I'm pulling against Michigan as long as he's playing.
You go. Tulane 4-1. They're, again, both LSU and Tulane on a bye this week. They're 1-0 in the American. They bounce back after getting really kind of outclassed by Tulane. By Ole Miss. 31-14 winner over Tulsa. I like this team.
Yeah, I do too, and I love John Summerall. Tulane is pulling for Ole Miss to be great.
Yes.
Right? And because that loss was terrible. If Ole Miss, let's say Ole Miss puds out, and doesn't make the college football playoff, and you lost that bad to a team that's not in the playoff, how can you make a case to be a playoff team, right? But,
especially when Memphis beats Arkansas and South Florida beats Florida.
Yeah,
2 SEC
all of
teams.
That. Now Tulane will play Memphis. So that's a huge game.
Big game.
But Tulane, the way Ole Miss took care of LSU, I hate to say it, that's good for Tulane. Right? Tulane needs Ole Miss to be great. And if Ole Miss is great, that loss doesn't look so bad, because then you can say, hey, it was in September against a great team. Tulane's got to run the table. And look, I'm talking about college football playoff for Tulane, because as long as it's on the table, that's what you talk about.
Absolutely.
And they are absolutely in the hunt, although they're 5th maybe in the non-Power 5 schools. Now, you could certainly climb. You got to run the table.
You got to win.
You get to play Memphis, which is good, because now that you've had that bad loss, you need to prove it. And let's see where they are. I love them to run the table Thursday. To beat East Carolina Thursday. And I like them the rest of the way. I don't think there's any game that I won't like them from now through the American Conference Championship, in theory. So let's see what happens.
Did they get, now again, no votes in the AP, 8 votes in the coaches poll, 36 there. The defense, again, continues to play very, very well. Retzlaff had a bad game against Ole Miss, but he bounced back again.
Yeah, I think Retzlaff is a good college football quarterback. I don't think he's going to be great.
Right.
Tulane does a lot of things well. I don't think they do anything great, but they do a lot of things well. But look, if I was voting right now, I wouldn't give them a vote either.
Okay.
They still need. They haven't had a great win yet. I mean, beating Duke was good.
Yeah.
They've had a couple of good wins, but
I mean, and
the loss to Ole Miss was a come back down to earth loss.
Yeah.
You got to put some. What do you put between bricks? The mortar? Yeah, you got to put some mortar between those bricks and get that wall going up. And I have no doubt they will. John Summerall has been great for that program. What Willie Fritz built, I mean, for 30 years, Tulane was not in the hunt for a conference championship ever. Willie Fritz comes in, took him a couple of years,
Yes, it did.
and then now that's the expectation.
That's right.
4 or 5 years
Absolutely.
now, where they're in the hunt every year. What Tulane has built, and Willie Fritz will always get credit as the guy who started.
But also, again, understanding, again, the changing landscape of college athletics, getting, again, the Wave Collective together.
They have just enough money to compete in that conference.
To be able to compete.
They're not fat.
Right.
I mean, they don't have a lot of money, but they have enough.
At some point, the bubble's coming up. That looks like, again, there's a commitment to athletics once again for Tulane.
They have a beautiful stadium.
Right.
For anybody in New Orleans who hasn't seen a game in that stadium, it's a small college football stadium.
But perfect.
It's perfect. It is I dare you to find a bad seat. It is a great place. My son and I have gone a couple times on the Thursday night games when I can go on a day off, and I go to once a year at least to sit in the press box. But I love going as a fan. It's a great place to see college football. And that stadium, like when people walk in it, or when I don't mean people, I mean recruits, like it's a class stadium for the recruits they're competing for.
And they've upgraded as well. They got the new lighting and everything else that's going on there. So again, they're continuing that.
Yeah.
Look, in our time, we've seen a change now. There's a commitment to athletics. I mean, look, just 20 years ago, they were ready to get rid of athletics.
There's no question.
Okay, so there's a commitment.
And I think when Willie Fritz started winning, I think a lot of people around Tulane who maybe weren't as committed to athletics saw what it means.
Yeah.
They saw what it means to enrollment.
Right, exactly.
They saw what it means to everything.
Right.
And a friend of mine, we were talking the other day about the University of Alabama, because we all know people who have kids who went to Alabama, and Alabama made a huge commitment educationally to go after elite students.
Yes.
I have a little niece that won the physics award at Mandeville High School. She got a huge offer to go to Alabama, where even more than getting everything paid for. And my friend Scott said, yeah, but the person they can credit more than anybody else with the enrollment is Nick Saban.
Better believe
and I don't care how much money you paid Nick Saban, he earned more than that for what he meant to the school. And on a significantly smaller scale, I think that's true with Tulane football. I think people have awakened to what it can mean to have a real winning football program on campus.
I agree, and of course, again, Summerall, I hope you can keep him for a while, but he's done an incredible job flipping that team over multiple times. Because,
you have to
because of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So again,
and it's harder at Tulane's level, I think, because he has to know what's above him, who's on LSU and Ole Miss's roster that's not playing that he might be able to get, and who's on Southeastern and Nichols roster that can help him and move up. He's got to catch him going up and down.
And of course, then you got a situation like Mekhi Hughes who goes to Oregon. Okay,
and then because he's going to lose some.
And then he redshirts.
And then
he redshirts again. Yeah. So again, as I mentioned yesterday, the grass is not always greener on the other side.
No, definitely not always greener. And from an NFL standpoint, now that guy's taking money now. From an NFL standpoint, the NFL doesn't care where you play college football.
They don't. They'll find you.
If you can play, they will find you.
Yes, they will.
At Shepherd College in West Virginia, where Tyler Bagent was, he could play quarterback. You know what? They found him.
Yes, no doubt. Pelicans head to Australia for 2 exhibition games that will take on Melbourne United at 4:30 in the morning on Friday. And then on Saturday, it's Southeast Melbourne Phoenix at 10 p.m. New Orleans time. Now, the good news is you don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. WLAE-TV will be replaying these games all weekend long. This will be our first chance to see the Pelicans and a very slimmed down Zion Williamson.
Look, the Pelicans were horrible last season. It was not because of Zion. When he played, he was terrific, and you could see it. You can see an increase in wanting to play defense. I mean, they were missing so many pieces throughout the season last year. 21 wins, obviously. That can't happen. I am so curious to see how this mix fits together. Zion's still the number one.
Do you like the way that they built this team?
I don't know yet. Do you?
Look, I like some of the pieces. I think Jordan Poole is going to get a second chance here in his NBA life.
Here's what I like most about Jordan. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah.
Between Poole and Fears, what you have done is you have got significantly faster.
Yes, you have.
I think speed, Seth and I were talking the other day, speed wins at pretty much, maybe not golf, but although it's how hard you hit the ball, speed wins in every sport. Speed is never a bad thing.
Right.
And the Pelicans got faster and more athletic. And that nugget, this team will be faster and more athletic than last year's team. Okay, I like that
And
part.
I like Looney. I think Looney comes in and gives you, again,
a grown-up.
Another grown-up. You've done it. You've imported so many over the years, right? But also a guy that, again, that fits what you need. He is a ridiculously great rebounder.
Yeah.
Okay?
And he's a grown-up.
Right. And again, I like that part of it. Now, again, we'll see what happens with the maturation process of Trey Murphy. He's got to step up. He's got to be a star.
And they get Herb Jones back.
Right. And Jones is coming back.
Herb Jones has to be the Herb Jones we saw 2 years ago.
I am interested to see Zion if his game changes.
Yeah.
He's always been able to use his girth and his physicality to get to the basket. The guy has lost a tremendous amount of weight. Does he still have the strength? Is he going to be able to do the same things that he did before?
Oh, I think,
with less weight.
I certainly think so. And I've had this talk with doctors, with orthopedic doctors. Couldn't think of the word. And Zion at that weight, the way he jumps is putting incredible stress on his joints and his feet and his ankles and his knees. A little less weight on Zion, I think, is great for long-term longevity.
It's a lot of weight gone.
Yes. And I think, every 5 pounds, I think, makes a difference. And if there's 20 or 25 in there gone, that's spectacular. And that will help his injured nature, injury-prone nature. So, there's no way that's going to change his ability to get to the basket.
Well, he gets the basket on quickness.
Correct. Right. But he also gets it on size. Right. You see guys getting out of the way.
Well, they have to.
Equals MC squared. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
He's coming with weight too. Like, it's not just the speed. He's coming with size. And even a little less size, he's coming with more size than most guys.
Have they done enough in the offseason to put them in a situation where they're in either the play-in tournament or a playoff?
Oh, I think so. I think so.
In the West, which got significantly better.
If you stay healthy, I definitely think so.
Right.
Again, the answer is we don't know.
Right.
Because we don't know how...
We're going to see how they got the mesh.
And I want to see what lineups they use.
Right.
Who's on the floor with Zion?
And where's Willie Green willing to play young players?
Correct.
I mean, he's got Queen and Fears. He's got a brand new general manager now.
Correct.
And again, head of basketball operations, Joe Dumars, who obviously, again, wants to see those guys play. Is he willing to play those guys?
Look, in a perfect world, Fear and Queen or Queen and Fears are the 8th and 9th men.
Right.
In a perfect world, they're getting 12 minutes a game, 15 minutes a game, because your veterans are all healthy and they're all playing well.
Yes.
So, I'm super curious to see how they fit the pieces. I like the pieces.
Me too.
But I have for the last few years, and the results haven't matched what's in my head. So I'm a little more cautious this year, just because I feel like they've taught me that.
Got 20 seconds. Is it a quick hook on Willie Green if they don't get it together?
That's a great question.
Because again, if you look at Dumars' history, he's again not patient with coaches.
No, I think I don't think there'll be a hook during the year, unless they were like 0-12.
Okay.
I think if he gets to 35 wins or more, he's good.
Right.
I mean, I think the over-under is like 31 or 32. I like the Pelicans over.
Me too.
And I might put
They got to be over.
I think if they're not over, then definite.
Right.
If another year, anything like this one, and he's out.
Right, because you got Borrego sitting right next to him.
No question. And there's a lot of guys out there that Joe Dumars knows.
No doubt.
He knows the league.
No doubt about it. Always good. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate Doug Mouton joining us on our program. Remember, again, check out all the great programming over at Channel 4 Sports. All right. So many ways to catch our program. There's a QR code on your screen that will take you to my website, ericasher.com, the WLAE-TV YouTube channel. Again, click it on with your phone, and of course, you'll never miss the show. Well, you don't miss the show if you set your DVR, right? Set the DVR. So many ways to catch our program. WLAE-TV, WLAE-TV 2. Also, again, on Pelican Sports Network. Set the DVR. You'll never miss the program. You catch me on the radio, 106.7 The Ticket. I'm on 4 to 6 weekdays. You can listen live at ericasher.com. The Ticket has a website, 106.7 The Ticket website. Also, we have our own app, 106.7 The Ticket app. Download that today, and of course you can take the show and the station with you everywhere. I want to thank the underwriters who make this show possible. Please support our underwriters. They are the reason why this show is on. We appreciate each and one of our underwriters, and also, again, the folks here at WLAE-TV who produce our program do a fantastic job. Ron Yeager, Jim Dodson, Alex Chacon, and I got to tell you, best director on the planet, William Hill. For Doug Mouton, I'm Eric Asher. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports. Thanks for watching.
Dear Coach, they don't teach you that inner strength is the most important kind of strong, but you taught me that.
They don't teach you how to build confidence in yourself or how to deal with all the pressures all at once, but you taught me that.
First tee was more than golf. It's where I discovered what I'm capable of.
You didn't just prepare me for 18 holes. You were preparing me for every day of my life. Learn more at firsttee.org.
Our mission is local and global. We're constantly developing new therapies for rare pediatric cancer, and we share our information globally, and that's the hallmark of St. Jude.
We're local and enlightening. You're watching WLAE-TV, celebrating 40 years of New Orleans public television.